Hi, I'm Julie from Practical Primitive. Today we're going to talk about the bottle bottom reduction sequence. Basically, we're going to take this and turn it into this. Bottles are free, they're readily available, and most important, each bottle bottom is going to present you with all of the main challenges you come across in flintnapping. Excess convexity, excess concavity, square edges, rounded edges, and an unforgiving material that won't tolerate a single mistake or overstrike. So even if you've been napping for a while, give this one a try. Bottle bottoms will teach you something new every time. Okay, let's get started. First, we need to get the bottom out of the bottle. Now I've seen people try and do this all sorts of ways, but this is the easiest way I've ever come across. All you need is a bottle and a nail. Now this nail is about a 16-penny nail. You can use anywhere from a 16 to a 20-penny nail. It has to have a big wide head on it, no finishing nails. Now all we do is we take the nail and drop it head first down into the bottle. I'm going to cover it up with my thumb and just move my feet out of the way and start to shake. And voila! Bottle bottom. Trick is to make sure that the nail is going up and down against the bottom of the bottle and not just swirling around the edge. Now sometimes you get lucky and the bottle comes off pretty intact, but more often than not you end up with part of the side of the bottle attached to the bottom. Now that's the first thing we have to get rid of. So I'm just going to take my billet and trim away the edges. So now I've taken away all of the excess material around the edges, but I need to watch carefully so that I don't go too far and stop when I see these small step fractures starting to form around the edges. So now I've got my bottle bottom all trimmed down, but if I start working on it now, all I'm pretty much going to do is take this big round disc and turn it into a small round disc, or a flying saucer, as one of our students likes to call it. So instead, I'm going to put the humpy side up and trim it down into a rectangle. In order to create the proper bevel that I need for my platform, I need to do this in a couple of steps, watching my holding angle since I'm essentially dealing with a square edge at this point. So first of all, I hold it at about 45 degrees and take a pass with my billet. Now, I drop my angle to about 22.5 degrees and take another pass. Last, I change my holding angle again, this time holding it essentially flat, and go across one more time. Now I do the same thing on the other side. Now I need to get at the flat plane that exists within the piece. In order to do that, I need to take a series of flakes to remove this hump in the middle of the piece. So I'm going to take these flakes from the side towards the center, not from the ends. Now you can see that what I've done is I've removed mass from the center of the piece. We've outlined some of these flake scars so that you can see a little bit better where we've exactly taken away the mass from the piece. What this does is start to flatten out the hump. And now we're going to do the same thing from the ends. I'm going to flip it over and reverse the bevel to create my platforms so I can take my shots in from the end. Now since we're working on a rounded edge, another one of those common flintnapping issues we talked about, I'm going to start from the corner and trim all the way across using that same 45 22.5 and flat sequence. Now, because we're napping into a concavity, I need to be careful to take only short little flakes that run to about here, so that we're not actually running our flakes into this deeply concaved surface. Our flakes are only going to go about this far in. That's how we're creating the convexity that we need to create our piece. So here we have our rectangle, and I don't know, I'd say that it's actually pretty flat compared to what we started with. But we don't want a rectangle, we want an arrow point. So now we're going to trim it into the shape that we actually want to work with. Now that we have our triangle, let's switch to pressure flaking so we can finish thinning our piece and establish some uniformity and some symmetry to the edges. Now I think this is looking pretty good so far. All we need to do is add our notches and we're done. But since my notching technique is not exactly up to snuff just yet, I think at this point we'll hand it off to Eddie and he can finish it up for us.
There we go. Couple of nice side notches.
Ta-da! And here we have it, our finished arrow point. Many thanks to Eddie for putting in these beautiful notches. Mine would never have looked this good. It's hard to believe we started out with one of these, went from there to this, and ended up with this beautiful little finished point, made from 100% recycled materials. So now that you know the sequence, get out there and raid your recyclables box and give it a try. And until next time, have fun and be well.